Welcome to PintheQ Productions. If you are interested in the culture of the fire service and keeping tradition alive, you have come to the right place. Now sit back and relax with your brothers and sisters and enjoy the show. Be sure to like and subscribe on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. For more information on PintheQ Productions, visit www.pintheq.com. This episode is sponsored by Absolute Fire Protection. For information on our product or pricing, call us today, 908-757-3600, or visit our website at www.absolutefire.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back to PintheQ Podcast, and we are episode 39 here in Adelphia, New Jersey, which is part of Howell Township. Everyone that knows anything about this show knows Howell Township is kind of like in our DNA, but there's a few things you don't know about Howell Township, and specifically Alabama, or like we like to call it, Adelphia. But it's not always been Adelphia, right?
Right.
A couple different names.
Right.
What are some of those names?
So Adelphia was actually at one time called Turkey. Then it was also called Blue Ball, and then it became Adelphia.
And if you are lucky enough, you'll actually hear one of the mascots.
Right. One of our local roosters.
Local rooster in the background.
Roostering away.
Yeah, so it's perfect. It all lines up.
Yeah.
So before we get too far into this, why don't you tell about who you are?
Hey, my name is Gabliks. I'm a past chief here at Adelphia. Just finished being president here for 20 years.
Wow.
So that was a pretty big milestone. So I've been a firefighter here, a volunteer for like 36 years.
That's quite a feat.
Yeah.
You talk about it so nonchalant.
Right. Crazy, right?
36
and
years.
Was a junior firefighter, so I was the first junior firefighter to graduate from Adelphia.
Awesome.
So that's kind of my volunteer service. And in career, I've been a Wildland firefighter for many years. I was a state fire warden for New Jersey Forest Fire Service for 10 years. I've been retired 9 years, and I've been working for the U.S. Forest Service ever since then.
So when you say retired, you're not really retired.
It's just kind of retired from, the pension system. Right. I'm retired. So officially, yes, state of New Jersey, I'm retired.
So anybody that's out there still paying into the pension, he thanks you.
Right, exactly.
We definitely
appreciate everybody.
As much as we can. So the reason we're here is because when I initially spoke to Tim McKay from Adelphia here.
Sure.
And we started talking about the fire department. One day we sat down and talked, and he had said, I love talking to you about the fire company. I love the fire company, but there's someone you need to talk to at this fire company who has a lot more to say and has a lot more to offer you.
Right.
And one of the things we spoke about, which I think is pretty interesting, which we're going to get to, is the fact that there's no changeover here.
Right, yeah. We've never had a repeat chief. So since 1927, most chiefs have been 2-year chiefs, but early years, they were 1-year chiefs. And then as they went into World War II, they were 1-year chiefs. But then after that, it became a 2-year job, and we've never had a repeat. So in like 93 years, we've never had a repeat chief.
Okay, so did you hear what he just said? So in 93 years, and this is something I've never heard before until I spoke to Tim, but I've never heard this before. In any other fire company, any organization that and help me out if you're one of those organizations that's never had anybody turn over. And how many years?
Yeah, like 93 years.
93 years. That is unbelievable to me. It's actually astonishing.
Right. It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
When you think about that in a volunteer organization, because most places, someone's a chief for a few years and then they go kind of on a hiatus and next thing they're back. But it's interesting that in your company here, that obviously is a tradition.
Yeah, definitely a tradition, and it's all about grooming the people,
right.
Giving the people the experience and giving them the opportunity to be the chief.
So really, in this organization, you don't have burnout.
Right. We're just constantly bringing in new blood,
right,
and bringing the people up, training them, and letting them perform and be chief.
So Maris, let's go back. Let's go back to, you told me you were a junior member here.
Yep.
Take me back to that time in your life. Tell me what it was like for you. How did you get involved in all this?
Well, I've got an older brother.
Okay.
He joined the fire company first. So I kind of followed in his footsteps. I kind of was interested in firefighting even before that. I always had a interest in wildland firefighting. So I remember back in school, the local section fire warden, it was B8, Al Younger back then, came to the school. and he had the really cool truck.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? That's the job I want to do. And
So even at a young age,
yeah,
you knew.
yeah. So I was always interested in it. And my brother joined the fire company first. He's about 4 years older than me. So I remember going to fires with my brother because, you know, back then, 35 years ago, you could get away with a lot of stuff.
Right.
So yeah, so I remember as a 14-year-old kid driving on a fire truck, being at fires.
Right.
And then I kind of followed through. And, you know, when I was 17, that's when the junior firefighter program started here in Adelphia. There were two members, Tom Ward Sr. and Frank Bosjancic. They had young sons, too, that were kind of in that age group.
Just
and
all
they
family
said,
oriented.
yeah, definitely. And they said, hey, you know what, we need to start up a junior firefighter program. And over the years, you know, that's, what's that, like 37 years has been a junior firefighter program. And a lot of those juniors have become members. I mean, some of them have stayed a couple years, but there's some that have been, you know, in the fire company ever since they were juniors.
Now, do you have chiefs in this organization or chiefs that came up as junior members?
Yeah. There's quite a few chiefs. Yeah, I bet you probably half or more of the recent chiefs were all junior firefighters.
So that speaks volumes of the organization, and it speaks volumes of the program.
Definitely.
It, you know, brings up members.
Definitely.
What was it like though, as a member? What was Howell Township like then for you?
Well, I mean, Howell Township was really rural. You know, growing up as a kid, a lot of farms, a lot of forests. You know, all the communities, the bedroom communities that are here weren't here at that time.
Right.
So it was mostly farms, scattered houses. You know, and it was a big deal to come to the firehouse.
Right.
You know, as a kid. And even back then, it was hard to get a job. If you were like 16 or 17 years old, there weren't a lot of places to get jobs. Like
because
now.
it was so rural.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because it was rural. Yeah, so it was really hard to get a job. You know, so it was always fun to come here. You know, and we always had good mentors. You know, a lot of the older members, you know, said, hey, it's good to have the kids here because they'll do the stuff, they'll wash the trucks, but we'll teach them. You know,
I can relate to you because at 14, that's exactly what I did. I started as a junior member too, and I remember those relationships you had, you know, with the senior members in the department and stuff, and it does build you as a person, not only as a firefighter, but as a person too.
Definitely.
Not every junior member goes on to be a fireman.
Right, but they get a good foundation, they learn a lot, and they have respect for the fire service.
That I agree with, and also, would you agree too that a lot of their tradesmen also started as?
Oh yeah, you learn a lot. I learned a lot. Things how to do here,
right?
You know, painting, cleaning, all kind of basic stuff. You know,
because as
what kind of tools, what are the tools, right? Yeah, we learned a lot. Yeah.
So, when you turned 18, you became a full-fledged member.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was cool because at that point, it was just cool to say, hey, you know, we're a member here because you saw older people too. You know, well, not the you know, older than me. And you saw that they were members, and you're like, "Wow, now I'm one of them." So
and
definitely
your brother
was cool.
Here too,
yeah, my brother was here. Yeah, so my brother was here. He became an assistant chief, and then he wound up moving out to Oregon. So currently, my brother is still a volunteer firefighter out in Oregon. He's in Dallas. He's a deputy chief.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's been a volunteer there ever since he moved here. So. Shoot, that's probably 30 years now, and he is in the public safety profession too. He's currently the director of police and fire training for the state of Oregon.
Not too shabby.
Yeah. So
and he also has a background with forestry.
No. He's just a structural guy. Yeah. He knows a little bit about Wildland, but it's probably been what's rubbed off me onto him. So I mean, I hope he's going to watch this and hear that. But yeah, he knows what Wildland firefighting is about. But he's pretty much a structural guy.
So you're here as a member at 18, and at what point did you start moving up the line? What was that like for you? Explain that.
Well, let's see. You know, but too, when I was 18, I was looking to get a full-time job too.
Right.
So I was always working part-time, doing different things, you know, to get my foot in the door to get a full-time job. Because my goal was to work for New Jersey Forest Fire Service. That was my goal.
Even young.
Yeah. That was my goal. So 18, I know that's what I want to do. At that point, you needed a 4-year degree to be a fire warden in New Jersey. So I went to Rutgers. And I was able to take a civil service test even before I graduated college, so it worked out really good. Yeah. But I also worked out in California. I worked for State of California Department of Forestry as a firefighter, so I did that, and that was a really good experience. They're like a top-notch agency in the U.S., probably they are the best state wildland fire protection agency. I mean, thousands of employees.
Do Cal Fire?
Yeah, Cal Fire. They're called. Yeah, they used to be called CDF, California Department of Forestry. Then they became Fire Protection, and now they just call them Cal Fire.
Yeah, I saw an interesting program where they have inmates that.
Yeah. Now they were talking about COVID-19 that they had shortages. But yeah, when I worked there were inmate crews. Yep.
Wow.
Fire captains were assigned to be in charge of an inmate crew. All the fellows that I work with at this point are retired. There's 2 fire captains I still talk to that are retired that worked at the fire station that I worked at when we were all seasonal firefighters. Yeah.
What was it like for you to? I mean, it's an amazing journey to go to California.
Yeah. I kind of just decided as a kid. I kind of set my sights that I need to get experience as a wildland firefighter.
Right.
And I think most of the kids in the Western U.S. think, hey, I'm going to work for U.S. Forest Service. But here, being in New Jersey, there's no national forest here. It's a state. It's New Jersey Forest Fire Service. So I said, you know what? I got to get some experience. And I said, let me go out there to California. And what I did was that one summer, it was in the spring, I had talked to a person in California, and he said, hey, here's the process to get hired. So basically, I applied to a whole load of, they call them ranger districts, like organizational zones. And I just applied to a whole load of them. And one weekend, I said, okay, I'm flying to California, and I hit all the different stations that I could, or the districts that I could hit in a weekend and did the interviews.
So you were very motivated.
Yeah, definitely. So the first one that offered me a job, I'm like, I'm there.
Wow.
So that's pretty much what happened. So it was cool. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that speaks a lot of your character, that you were so driven to what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
You knew what you wanted to do.
Definitely.
Yeah, so
definitely.
That's good.
And then you tell your parents, yeah, I'm just going to fly out to California. They're like, okay, So I don't know if I would let my kids do it today.
It's a different time.
Yeah. And then I said, I'm going to California to work this summer. They're like, okay, have a good time. Call us. And it's not like you could text.
Right.
You couldn't call. You're lucky if you called them once a week. Hey,
payphone.
Mom, Dad, I'm here. I'm okay. Yeah.
Most people don't know what a payphone is.
Yeah, exactly. I always say that too. Exactly.
It's a box with a phone in it.
Exactly.
So that's interesting. I didn't even know that you went to
California. Yeah, so it was good.
And how long were you in Cali?
Yeah, it was one summer, one season, so it was good, But you build a lot of relationships.
Oh,
and a lot of the people, traveling across the U.S. on fires over the years, I've interacted with people that I worked with in California.
That's interesting.
So it's really cool.
It's a cool part of your journey.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you're back here now, and you started to rise up the ranks.
Yeah, so I got full-time as a section fire warden right out of college.
What was that for?
22 years old.
What was that like for you?
That was amazing, because it was like, man, I'm badass now, because I'm a section fire warden, 22 years old. So that was
that
amazing.
young at that time?
Yeah, it's young now too. Yeah, definitely.
So would you say?
Yeah, I think when I got hired full-time, looking at the cadre, the employees across New Jersey, I was like a little baby.
Right.
Definitely. I was just a little kid. Yeah, had to grow my mustache to look older. Yeah.
Were you the youngest?
I don't know if I was ever the youngest, but probably close to the record. Yeah.
I would say so. At 22 years old, that's that's an important and a huge responsibility.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was good.
So you did this since age 22?
Yeah. Worked up in North Jersey first. Okay. Then got back here to this, section right here, B8, because that was kind of my home, home turf. Right. So I got that one. So that was even more amazing.
Speak a little bit about the people who are watching that aren't maybe familiar with the Forestry Service or Forest Fire Service in Jersey. It's not just putting out fires, right? I mean,
it's every aspect of fire management. It's the big picture, public safety, and how wildfires and wildfire management all evolve. Right. Because this whole central and South Jersey area is all fire adapted. Fires occur here. Fires have occurred here for thousands of years. It's a fire adapted ecosystem, so wildfires are part of South and Central New Jersey.
And what does it mean? And we often get a lot of these questions, and I'm not a professional when it comes to forestry service stuff, so I'm curious myself. What is the set and backfire? What is that all about?
Well, I mean, there's two things. There's prescribed fire, and that's in the winter months, or when fire danger is low, is actually introducing fire into the forest. So basically, you're mimicking a wildfire with prescribed fire, and you're reducing the buildup of the forest fuels, but it's actually a benefit to the forest because it keeps the forest healthy. Okay. The forest needs fire every so often. The kind of the cross is human-caused fires are bad. So the whole message behind Smokey Bear, you had the picture of me with Smokey Bear because I'm a big Smokey Bear fan. But the whole Smokey Bear message is preventing human-caused wildfires. Even though fires are part of the ecosystem, you can't have a message that it's okay for people to light fires because it's not. Because you know, you don't want to burn somebody's house down, or you don't want to kill somebody with a wildfire, which definitely has a potential here in New Jersey for occurring.
And this can happen as much as like just a cigarette butt.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And the drier it gets, more things start fires,
right.
You know, accidental types of fires. So that's kind of the prescribed fire. And then, you know, the backfiring one is just when you have large scale fires, just to use an indirect attack, and that's where you'll use the backfiring technique to basically burn out the fuels in advance of the fire. So that's the whole backfiring type of terminology.
Right.
You know,
it's interesting how much goes into what you do.
Oh, sure.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's not more than just putting out fires.
Right.
A lot of people think that it's just putting out fires, but it's, you know, the big thing is for people that live in the Pine Barrens, just to be aware that wildfires occur here, and people need to be proactive to protect their own property, because it's inevitable that a fire is going to happen, but your property doesn't have to be damaged. If you're you know, wise about what you do around your home and prepare, you can protect your property.
What was the most important aspect for you in your position with the state? Was it more pub ed education, or was it more prevention?
I think it was kind of everything.
Okay.
Everything, but I think you have like, you know, people say that when you're managing something, you might have like the stove on with all the pots. So you got all these pots burning, different pots. So a lot of the stuff rises at different times, but definitely it's awareness, and it's firefighter safety and public safety. I mean, we want to make sure that all of our firefighters are safe, but we also want to ensure that the public's safe. So everything we're doing is to protect the people.
Well, I can tell you firsthand, I have a whole new respect for those type of fires, because I got caught in a head fire one time.
Okay.
And I remember the sound, you know, I remember the roar.
Sure,
it sounded like a train coming above me, and the intense heat, and just that it's that fast.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
The temperature changed, everything changed in a
Definitely.
moment's notice, and the next thing you know, it's over us.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
It's a whole new respect.
Yeah, and there's a time and a place too for aggressive direct attacks on these fires, and then there's a time and place too for remote fires to just say, hey, you know what, let's back off. Public safety, firefighter safety. If this fire, we're going to use indirect attack, and if the fire's a little larger, so be it. But we're managing this fire. You know.
So as a section warden, then would you rise to next?
Yeah, then I wound up being in Division B office, which is Central New Jersey, so covering Middlesex, Monmouth, Ocean, Burlington counties. So that was a really good opportunity, and always had a lot of good mentors at the New Jersey Forest Fire Service too. A lot of senior guys that you learn a lot from. So that was great. Then I was lucky enough to work at state headquarters. Then I went back to Division B headquarters to be in charge of Division B. So that was really amazing, because probably that's like the best job in the Forest Fire Service. Being in charge of Division B, you're like the man.
Right.
Because Division B has the hottest fires each year, big fires, lots of potential. So you're just always high profile. You're where the action is, and you're like the man.
There's a lot of responsibility in that.
Yeah, definitely a lot of responsibility. Yeah. And then after that, I got to go back to state headquarters. I was the assistant state fire warden. Worked for a fellow named Dave Harrison. He had been the state fire warden, I think, for 18 years. And that fellow worked for New Jersey Forest Fire Service, I don't know, 45 years.
Wow.
Mandatory retirement, 65.
Yep.
Last day on the job, he was still there. Still at the office, yeah. So amazing guy. And then I got to fill his shoes and become state fire warden after him. So it was just a good.
Was that a dream for you to come?
Yeah, it was awesome. You know, as a kid, I would always say to the guys, I would always joke, you know, I'm going to be chief here someday. I'm going to be the chief. You know, you just kind of bust the guys, and then I was like, damn, I am the chief. You know, so it was really good. Yeah, awesome opportunity. Yeah,
speak to us a little bit about what that opportunity meant to you personally to achieve that.
Well, I think, you know, I've always had the drive to do better, to do stuff. And a lot of times I'd say to people, guess what? If you don't take the promotion, somebody else might, and you might not be happy with the person that becomes your supervisor.
God, that's true.
So I was always happy to move up and take the responsibility and take the opportunity. So definitely, you know, so always looking for an opportunity, looking to do stuff better, looking to be proactive. You know, and the whole thing about leadership, it's not about you. It's about taking care of your folks and making sure that your organization is working smoothly and they're doing what they need to do and they're safe.
Absolutely.
You know,
looking back at your career in the Forest Fire Service, what would you say your best accomplishment was? Was it becoming chief, or was it something else?
Nah, I don't. I think it's just doing the work that we did. You know, we had some pretty serious fires, and we worked with Pinelands Commission to try to changed the way we manage the forest, putting in fire breaks, fuel breaks, raising public awareness, making fire-wise communities where the people realize, hey, we live next to a volatile forest.
Right.
Maybe we should be a little proactive. So those are the types of things I look at as the accomplishments. Yeah, I was the chief,
right.
But it was all the guys. We're a team.
What was that relationship like that you built throughout the years in the Forest Fire Service with the people that you worked with?
Well, you kind of have an interesting relationship with everybody when you're the chief, state fire warden. So you've worked with people side by side as a section fire warden, and sometimes maybe ups and downs. Maybe everybody doesn't agree with every decision you make every time. But if you're in the seat, you make the decisions and you're looking out for the best for your people and your best for the organization.
Right. And you've watched people before you, and then you have your own vision.
Right. So yeah, definitely. Growing up in the organization, you kind of are looking at that vision the whole time.
Right.
So then when you get there, you kind of look and say, hey, what's my vision? But that's the hardest thing too, is getting everybody to be on the same page. They say like an organizational change, 7 years in an organization. If you make a change, it takes 7 years before the people don't even realize anymore that there was a change.
Wow.
So you've got that time that it takes. So you can't just go in and say, I'm going to make a change, and in 2 weeks everything's going to be okay. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you might think it's going to work.
Yeah, it takes time.
The reality is it's not, and you're right, it does take some time.
Yeah, it takes time.
That's an interesting take.
It takes
on
time,
it.
yep.
So now that you're retired from that, you have obviously more time to be here. Right?
Yeah. Well, I'm retired, but I do work. I work for the federal government, so I've been retired from New Jersey for 9 years. I've been working for the U.S. Forest Service, and I work in cooperative fire programs. So the region I work in, we cover the 20 Northeast states.
Wow.
So we work with Maine over to Minnesota, down to Missouri, back to Maryland. So we work with those 20 state fire programs. So we work with the fire chiefs.
You can't get enough of this.
Yeah, I love it.
It's obvious, you can't get enough.
Yeah, and then also get assigned to FEMA. So one of the jobs we have in U.S. Forest Service Co-op Fire is when FEMA declares a disaster, U.S. Forest Service coordinates firefighting resources for the nation.
Oh, wow.
So that's one of the jobs I do too. So I wound up working with FEMA Region 2 and FEMA Region 3.
So when you hear people going out west, you're intimately involved in that.
Yeah, I've done it. So I've been out on quite a few crews out west over the years. Done a lot of different jobs, overhead supervisory type jobs. I am on an incident management team, so I do some different positions on an incident management team. So we do travel across the country on wildfires.
Tell our viewers what it's like when you're here in New Jersey and then you get called to go out west. And what's that like?
Yeah, so basically what happens is kind of, it kind of gets ramped up. You see on the news that fires are occurring. They're starting to mobilize resources. The national level of fire preparedness keeps going up. Like 1 is the lowest, 5 is the highest. So when it's like level 3, that's when the state people start saying, maybe we'll get called. So it's pretty intense. You have a lot of people that are just as gung-ho to go, and we kind of have a mix. Some people, maybe it's their first time going, but it's an awesome experience. And then there's a lot of people that can't get enough of it. They want to go every year, and they're out there.
Most people I talk to that are in the fire service, Forest Fire Service, all want to go.
Yeah, definitely. And lots changed too, because in the past, like when I first started doing Atlanta, we made the joke before about payphones, but you couldn't even call home to check in. You were lucky if you could find a payphone. So a lot of times you were away maybe for 2 weeks, your family didn't even know. It's not like today, everybody's texting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so a lot of difference there. Yeah, there was. I can remember too on fires waiting in line for a payphone where they had a satellite phone set up and you had to wait in line. Everybody was giving out a couple minutes.
I love hearing things like that because I understand those things at my age, but there's a lot of people now, this generation, have no clue what you're talking about. Right. Because everything's instant gratification. You have a cell phone, you have internet, you have all these different ways to contact people. So.
I remember getting the first pager at work with the Forest Fire Service, and it was like they'd put a 1 in there if it was an emergency or whatever, and then you could use the excuse if your boss called and said, hey, why didn't you call back right away? You'd say, well, I couldn't find the payphone, so I had to wait, sorry.
You can't do that today.
Yeah, you could have done that back then.
It's too easy to get to a phone.
Yeah, exactly. It was awesome. It was a whole different culture.
So now your position now with U.S. Forestry, it's more of a relaxed role than
more administrative, behind the scenes.
Was that hard for you to step away from activity?
I guess the biggest thing is when you retire, when you're the chief, you're the man, So when you retire from that, you kind of take on a role, different role. But it's good because other people have to move up and do it. It's just like here at the fire company.
I was just going to say that.
Everybody gets their opportunity. They get to move up. Just like the president job here, 20 years.
It's amazing.
5 presidents. Now the 6th one is in.
In 98 years.
Yeah, 93.
93.
Yeah,
so 93 years has only been.
Yeah, first
5.
guy did it for 10 years. Second guy did it for 25 years. 2 guys did it for 17 years each, and then I did it for 20. And when I did it, I left chief, and the fellow that was the president, Frank Biddle Jr., he had been the president for 17 years, and he said, yeah, I'm giving it up. And they're like, well, somebody needs to do it. And then I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll raise my hand. And then 20 years goes by, and it's like, where did 20 years go? Just amazing. But a lot of good times, too, over those years, and dealing with the different chiefs. So over those 20 years, interacted with 10 different fire chiefs.
Right.
So each one has their own little management style.
Sure.
Everybody's got their own personality, but everybody does good, and everybody's there to back them up. So, if they've got questions, there's a lot of people here that can help you.
The one thing I'll say with someone in like your position as president for 20 years, I mean, talk about finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
It's like managing a business for 20
years. At times, and then we're looking at our fundraisers, and everybody always wants to spend money, and everybody always wants to buy something, but you kind of have to be like the mom and say, well, a little time out here, let's figure out what we really need to do, and where are we really going.
I know people that literally took the president's job for a year and was like, I'm done with this.
But
you're like, just give me a 19.
A lot of people say that to me. I was talking to one of the guys the other night, and he goes, damn, I can't believe you did that for 20 years.
It's amazing. The things we've talked about in this time we've spoken about, you're like, oh yeah, I've been a firefighter for 36 years. Oh yeah, I was a president for 20 years. You say it's so nonchalant.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about it.
It's
you just kind of rise yourself to the occasion to get it done. Do the best job you can. Have focus, have a mission. Let's do it. We're going to do a good job.
You're clearly a very driven and focused person, which is
for most part.
It's good.
But everybody needs some time off though too. Everybody needs a break.
That is true. Maybe one day I'll take that very advice myself.
Yeah.
So, bringing me back to here at Adelphia, what is it about this fire company that's so special to you?
I guess it's just kind of where you start. And, somebody said to me, hey, if you moved, would you ever join another fire company? I said, probably not, because I had my fill here and I have my affiliation here, So I think the special thing is, too, that we've had so many people here that just stay around. Right. They're just members, and they're just they just stay with it. Right. We've got a lot of members like that. There's a lot of guys around here that have many more years than me. That still come around. There's a lot of fellas here that are retired. They drive the fire truck. Frank Biddle III, the guy's here every day. He's retired, lives around the corner. There's a fire, he's here. There's one fella, Frank Boschanczyk. He's an instructor at the fire academy. Guy's here every day when there's a call. So just amazing. And he's not spring chicken. Frank's not a spring chicken.
That type of commitment is so rare these days.
Sure.
And I'm not saying there isn't commitment these days. I'm not saying that there is, but that type of commitment is hard to come by.
Yeah. And there's more names to mention too. Right. You can't name them all.
Right.
Another fellow, George Gravatt, senior, lives right down the street. The guy's here every day.
Right. Do you think that has a lot to do with the reputation and the type of tradition here at
Adelphia? I think it's the tradition, the camaraderie.
Right.
People are just committed to the organization because I think we just retain good people. And if you got a good group of people, they just kind of stick together and they're a team. It's kind of like a family. It's the fire company family. You don't want to bring them all back to your house.
Not always.
But it's definitely your family while you're here.
Yeah. Dysfunctional at times.
Yeah,
but still
There's a lot of interesting characters that have been here over the years.
Yes.
So
for you then, would you say that that's what it is for you, is the family bond?
Yeah, I think it's just something you do and you get, I think too, being in the fire company, you know a lot of people and you just know a lot of people in town.
Right.
And if you need something or you need to talk to somebody, you know who to talk to. Or if you talk to somebody, you know what, just go talk to this person here. They're the ones that are going to be that help because you've got that tight-knit bond. People know people,
In your time here, a long time, what would you say the most impressive thing for you was from this organization? What impressed you the most?
I think just the longevity of the people staying around,
That's a great answer.
thinking of those people. And there's a fire commissioners meeting at the other firehouse tonight. There's fellas there. There's one fella, George Patton's been a fire commissioner probably like for 40 years. He's in his late 80s. Every day he's doing stuff for the fire district, whether he's going to the office and just paying bills. But it's just like, you say, oh, Maris, you're badass doing all this stuff. Then I look at George and I'm like, George is badass because George is in his 80s and he's doing this stuff. And he's not doing it to make anybody happy. He's doing it for himself. And he's doing it because he's providing a service to the public.
I think, so the word Adelphia should be synonymous with longevity.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Yeah.
Because it seems like people here are so committed.
Sure.
And I would hope that a lot of fire companies are committed. And I've met some amazing people from different organizations that are just as committed.
Right.
But what I think is so unique about this place, and again, I can't get over the fact that people have stayed in these positions and they don't come back. Right. They stay on the company, but they just don't come back to these organizations. I was shocked by that.
Yeah. And also, Adelphia has a good network of ex-chiefs. So if there's not an officer on scene, ex-chiefs handle the incidents.
Right.
So those ex-chiefs still get to be active, if they're around, and especially during the day. Some of the older members that are retired, they're here and they fill in the role, fill in the void.
Tell me what your family life has been throughout this whole journey of yours with the fire company. What's your family life like?
Well, first you start with your parents, as a kid, being with my brother, kind of competition. I remember when we were kids, fire tones go off, racing out, I can remember my brother leaving me at the house because I wasn't quick enough for him.
Yeah.
See him pulling out the drive, and I'm like, dude. So I got to drive myself. And back then, you could drive to the fire call. You had your turnout gear in your trunk. So that was good. And parents were always really just like, hey, if that's what you guys want to do, they never came over here to see, hey, what kind of guys belong to this fire company? They interacted with some of the people, but they kind of knew what we were doing, and we were in good hands here, And then having kids, I have a daughter and a son, so I don't know if they're going to want to be in the public safety field or not.
Have they expressed any interest at all in that?
I've had my son here. He comes with me. He's going to be 16.
Okay.
So we'll see. You got to give them room to figure out what they want to do. So
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
But so the bug hasn't bit him yet?
Yeah, I don't know. I tell my son a lot of times. I said, Alex, just so you know, every male in your family, your dad, your uncle, your other uncles, your cousins, they're all public safety. They're either firefighters or police officers.
Yeah.
So guess what? You better start thinking about what you want to be if you're going to be a policeman or a fireman, but it might be in your cards, buddy.
Be smart, it'll be a fireman.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially in today's climate.
Definitely.
So talk a little bit about your brother, because I think that's interesting that your brother in Oregon, correct?
Yeah.
That he's doing the public service.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's been doing it also since he was 18.
Right.
We both worked as special police officers in Belmar when we were young kids too, so we were doing that. But, our kind of start, we grew up next to Monmouth County Police and Fire Academy, so we were always over there as kids. Right. And my brother even more than me, but we were always over there, so we definitely had an appreciation. We lived like next driveway over, just walk through the woods or walk down the highway, we were there. So we always had an appreciation for the public safety profession.
It's fair to say you and your brother were very close.
Yeah.
Was it difficult to see him leave?
When he first moved, I was like, dude, what are you doing? But then after that, everybody's got their life to lead.
Right.
But he does a really good job. He's got a really good gift for gab. So anybody that, the older people here at Adelphia know him. And when he comes here, he still knows what's going on in Adelphia. He is always on top of it. And he even knows a lot of the kids. If he comes here a couple times a year, he knows who the people are. He's talking to them, So he's into what's going on here. He still has the pulse.
Is it fun for you to watch your brother's journey also as a
firefighter? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm very proud of him and his accomplishments. And, he's been done some different jobs there, but his job now being, overseeing police and fire training for Oregon. That's
huge. That's huge.
Huge job.
Big deal,
his job's the governor. His boss is the governor.
Right.
So it's pretty cool, and then he's in the volunteer fire service too. And, he's really active.
That's great.
He's more active than me. He's like
you
out there.
You sound pretty active.
He's out there every day doing fires and driving his battalion deputy fire chief's car.
That's a big shot.
Whatever he's got
that's
out
awesome.
there. Yeah.
So listen, before I get you off the hot seat,
yeah.
I always like to ask, senior guys, this very question. It is there one person or that one person, or was it many people as you came up in the fire service that you would say was your mentor, was your person, your guiding light?
I think there's a lot of mentors over the years here at Adelphia Fire Company. One person I should mention is Toby Rowe, who was he's a district fire warden, past chief here, but he was involved in the forest fire service as a part-time guy, and he kind of helped me get steered in to become a full-time fire warden. So I think, have to thank him. But there's been a lot of the guys, especially I think just looking at the past chiefs, all those ex-chiefs before, always you kind of look and you learn something different from everybody, because everybody's got their good things that they're really good at. So I think you learn a little bit from everybody. Right. And then working for New Jersey too, for the forest fires, you pick up a little bit from everybody. Some of those section fire wardens for their whole career. This guy's got a lot of experience dealing with fires, a lot of experience working with people, and you just learn a lot from them.
I know when I met Brian Corvinus in my area, he's so dedicated to what he does.
Yeah.
It means so much to him, and I watched him grow all the way up from being in the tower and painting fire trucks.
Yeah, definitely.
To where he is today. It's great to see that transition.
Yeah,
it sounds like you've had that very thing.
Definitely, and I like to keep in touch with those guys too. I still do go out on wildfires with New Jersey as an on-call guy.
I'm sure.
So I'm still out there doing stuff with them, and I always like to see what they're doing too, and I like to watch too, as there's people that were younger when I was still working, and as they're progressing up through the ranks and they're making a difference and doing a good job and being proactive with their jobs, because it's really kind of it is an honor to work for New Jersey Forest Fire Service. Full-time staff, 89 people.
Right.
There's about 2,000 on-call part-time guys. So those guys that get those full-time jobs, they're definitely revered jobs.
Yeah.
But then a big shout out really goes to all that part-time workforce out there too. There's a lot of district fire wardens that do it part-time and bust their ass, have regular careers, and they still have the love for the forest fire warden job, and they're just out there. A lot of times when I was the local section fire warden here, when I was B8, you're kind of thinking, hey, who's available today? Who are the guys that are available?
So you're depending on those
Yeah.
people.
And some guys just would say, you know what, I'm busy, but if it's a bad fire day, I'll be there.
Right. So
it's pretty cool.
And I know firsthand that they jump on the truck.
Yeah. There's some pretty badass guys. I mean, all the guys that I was here in B8, Denny Letts passed away, my father-in-law, badass guy, just hard workers.
Right.
There's a lot of guys like that. Dick Wallace was one fella, career firefighter in Lakewood. When he was off from career firefighting, he's driving B-36. That's the type of guy. You're running down the fire, B-36 is coming, the cavalry's coming.
That's awesome. And it's great to see the amount of passion that you have for the fire service. And it really is astonishing to watch your career bloom as it did as a junior member.
Sure.
It's been an amazing journey for you, and it's an honor to meet you. And it's an honor to talk to you about this stuff.
Awesome.
Well,
I'm happy to be here and happy to talk to you.
Great.
And thank you very much.
I'm glad. And
awesome.
listen, episode 39, you're able to see some of what's going on here.